President Trump saying today that he will impose a 100% tariff on all foreign-produced films sent to the United States. He is repeating a threat made back in May, which, if allowed, could upend Hollywood's global business model, though it was not immediately clear what legal authority Trump would use to impose the tariff. This as a slew of new taxes are set to take effect Wednesday, including a 100% tariff on branded drugs, a 25% tariff on heavy trucks, a 50% tariff on kitchen cabinets and vanities, as well as a 30% tariff on upholstered furniture. Joining us live to discuss is Professor of Economics, Dean Emeritus, Dr. Joseph Phillips from Seattle University. Thanks so much for being with us, Professor.
You bet. Good afternoon.
Well, first of all, we usually hear about tariffs on steel or cars, not movies. So what do you make of this move, this 100% tariff on foreign films?
Well, it is very interesting because up until now, the tariffs have been on physical goods, as you mentioned. And so this is really the first kind of service type activity that would be tariffed. And it's interesting to think about whether it's the first of many or it's just it's just a kind of a one-off. So that's kind of the first thing that comes to mind, that potentially expanding the number of things that U.S. Consumers buy that will suddenly be impacted by tariffs.
Yeah, but to your point, we usually have it on goods, not services. The White House says this could really help bring the movie-making industry back to the U.S. Do you agree it would potentially create jobs in Hollywood, or will Americans simply end up paying higher ticket prices at the box office?
Well, it's hard to say at this point. First of all, you have to figure out how are we going to decide whether a movie is made in the U.S. or not? Is the president literally just worried about where the movie is filmed, or is he worried about everything that possibly goes into a movie? Because, as you indicated earlier, the production of a movie is really global. It's, you've got all kinds of different things happening and putting a movie together. It's not just, filming on the set. And is that all he is worried about, or is it the whole thing? So what's the test for how a film qualifies or doesn't qualify for the tariff is one thing to sort out. The other thing is, of course, there's always the possibility of retaliatory tariffs. So some of the countries that get really involved with films include Canada, England, New Zealand, Australia. If those countries' films are being the tariff is imposed on them, then are they going to turn around and try to do something to the U.S.? I mean, the U.S. movie industry gets most of its box office revenue from overseas, not from the U.S. Right. More is earned abroad than here. So in that respect, they're potentially vulnerable. So it's very hard to say what the net impact is. I think it's caught the industry by surprise. I don't think they can even figure it out until they know exactly, how we're going to decide what movies are going to be tariffed.
Right. Also, starting this week, we're going to see that 50% tariff on kitchen cabinets, bathroom vanities. What does that mean for people who are remodeling a home, for example?
Well, it's eventually going to result in higher prices. I mean, there's no way around that. I think what you've seen over the balance of this year is the president has made lots of announcements about tariffs. They've been subsequently changed. Something has been altered somehow, and the businesses have kind of been sitting back to try to see how the dust settles. And they've been holding off, therefore, on passing these costs along to the consumer. But at some point, the dam is going to break, and all these tariffs are eventually going to end up in somebody's purse and pocketbook. That's the reality of tariffs. They are not paid by countries overseas. They are not absorbed by the manufacturer and the distribution system. They ultimately end up on the back of consumers.
I guess my final question, consumer confidence has been waning, but consumer spending has been pretty solid. So how much do you think people are actually going to feel it in their wallets? What kind of fallout do you think there'll be?
Yeah, the economy has proven to be very durable, including consumer spending, despite all the uncertainty that's been generated by economic policy. So, that's really good news, and that just kind of tells you fundamentally the U.S. economy right now is pretty solid. But we don't know what's going to happen in the future, and inevitably, like I said, the tariffs are going to come home to roost, and they're going to further result in price increases for consumers across a whole variety of goods. So not just the ones that you mentioned, but many others that have been articulated previously.
I mean, what you're saying is it's not a matter of if, but just a matter of when, and we just don't know yet.
I think that's correct, yes. We don't know yet,
Yeah.
but that day will come.
Dr. Phillips, so great to have you on our show on King 5 News at 5. Hope to have you back soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You're welcome.